What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I am back with a little bit of a different video today. So, normally I talk my team on this channel. You guys all know that, and that's usually what I do. But I'm going to react to this video a friend of mine sent me ranking the best all-time starting fives from every NBA team. Now, the reason I chose to do this one is because he told me specifically, that this video was going to make me mad at some point, and that's usually like a good sign. So I'm going to react to it. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff over on my second channel, so that'll be down in the description. I'm just uploading this on the main channel for fun right now. But I'm interested to see why this is going to make me mad. He said there's specifically one team that's going to, tweak me out. I've never seen this. Whatever. It is what it is. I already see a still of, I think that's Kyrie Irving. I'm already just not liking where this is going, so I guess we'll see.
Ranking the best all-time starting fives. I don't do all-time videos very often.
Yeah,
the last time I made this video, it got
I'll decide if you should do all-time videos ever again.
So we're doing it again. I'm still not gonna do too many more all-time videos after this, but
okay.
I may still do a couple of
we'll see about that. We'll see what these numbers say. The 1.9 million views say otherwise. That's how I feel.
Need to be said. And we've got
that's a sick
rules.
court.
The first is that each team must have one player from every position, and it must.
Okay, fair enough. But my thing is, a lot of players have played multiple positions, so I don't know how that's going to work in regards to that. But I mean, I guess we'll find out, right?
Be a player's natural position. Number two is that players can be used more than once for more than one all-time team.
Fair enough.
And number three is that these players be ranked on or off of teams based on how good they were for that team. And for
okay. All right, this is where it's going to get tricky right here. If we're going to implement that rule in the mix, you better follow that rule. That's all I got to say about that. Because if we're going to sit here and we're going to say they have to be as good as they were when they played on that team, how do we factor injuries into the mix? For instance, I mean, I guess Kevin Durant was great. Klay Thompson was great, so it doesn't really count. But, the Nets roster, for instance, if we're throwing James Harden and Kyrie on the Nets roster, how good really were they? Because we didn't really get to see them play at all this year. So if you were to try to put them in an all-time team, for instance, I don't know how I would feel about that because we watched them play 26 games, right? Granted, did they play good? Yeah, of course. But that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Special
I'm super interested.
Who haven't played for that team
I don't know.
Anthony Davis on the Lakers as of making this video. We're just gonna base things.
Okay, he's already queuing in
well
on Anthony Davis. This is not a good sign.
The rules. Let's get started with number 30.
All right.
The Charlotte Hornets, who have Kemba Walker, Eddie Jones, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, and Alonzo Mourning.
Perfect. If the rest of this video can just go like this, we're good. I won't even be mad. I'm not even sweating yet out of pure frustration. Everything's solid right now. Kemba Walker, Glenn Rice, Eddie Jones, Alonzo Mourning. I almost hovered on Larry Johnson, but Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning. Yeah, dude, this is about the best possible Charlotte squad that you can build. I mean, if you're talking about, depending on what rules, I guess, you could put in there, you could throw Kobe in there since they technically drafted him, but he never played a game for him. So I'm just glad I don't see Vlade Divac over here. That's all I really care about. Adam Morrison should actually be right here, but, I'll let that pass, I guess.
The Hornets might be in this last spot, but they still have a solid all-around team with every one of these guys having been all-stars.
Yeah, I mean, they should have a solid all-around team. This is the best players to ever play for their organization.
In their time in Charlotte.
Kemba Walker.
29. The Washington Wizards have Gilbert Arenas, Bradley Beal, Caron Butler, Elvin Hayes, and West.
Caron Butler. Dog, I forgot about Caron Butler. I forgot about his Wizards days. All right, so right off the bat, I think Antoine Jamison should actually be where Caron Butler is. Did he play the greatest for the Wizards? No, but Caron Butler literally never even played. He barely played. He was always injured. I would say Antoine Jamison here, no question about it. Everything else is correct, though. Larry Hughes is probably the next closest, shooting guard. I don't think he's on Beal's level. The one thing I will say about this team is tiny. This team is small. 6 foot, I think 6'1" for Gilbert Arenas, 6'3" for Bradley Beal. Jameson 6'8" or 6'9", so that's fine. And I think he's 6'8", actually. Elvin Hayes is decently sized, and the Wes Unseld's 6'7". They're going to get bullied on the interior, but Wes Unseld is pretty thick, so I don't know. This team's fine, but I would put Antoine Jamison, no doubt, over Caron Butler, and I actually like Caron Butler. That's just kind of how I
And
feel.
this is another team that's solid. The backcourt's extremely
Yeah.
strong with Gilbert, having averaged almost 30 a game in his best season.
Gilbert was a
and
beast, bro.
Beal with 25 a game. Then, even though the front court
I just
could
all
be
right. So like my
better,
one thing
it's-
about this team though that I will say is like Bradley Beal is a great off-ball player. He doesn't dominate the ball that much, but Gilbert Arenas is not the facilitating type of point guard, right? Like I just don't know how that's working out with those two, but I don't think Bradley Beal really cares. He's there for a check and to wear a headband, so respect, I
not
guess.
too bad.
It is
and
what it
before we
is.
get any
No
further,
way, dude. You did not come in here with a Raid Shadow Legends advertisement. Yeah, this is pure 2019 right here. Do people still have Raid Shadow Legends advertisements? Because if you do, like, you definitely shouldn't. That's like definitely a scam.
please. For Mike Conley, Mike
If you play Raid Shadow Legends, please don't. Just stop playing it. Okay, first off, I'm seeing Mike Miller. All right, I'm seeing Mike Conley. I'm already not liking either of these. I don't really know who should have been there. I mean, I guess it depends what you value right off the bat. Like, you could even argue that Tony Allen deserves to be here. I'm not saying you'd be correct, but you could argue it. And then, as good as Mike Conley is, and I think he makes more sense, Ja Morant probably deserves to be there. But this was made a year ago, so I mean, I guess if this was an updated list that this guy meant, Ja Morant would totally be here. So I'll pass
Rudy
on that
Gay,
one.
Pau Gasol, and Marcus.
Oh
Gasol.
yeah, no,
Three,
this is
nothing
fire
too
right
exciting
here. I mean,
We've
this
already
squad,
seen
yeah,
Conley,
these,
Gay,
yeah,
and
okay, there
Mark
we go.
play together,
I was gonna
and
say,
they were
these three right here already played on a very good team. I do think Pau Gasol is better than Zach Randolph, possibly not for the style that they played, but overall. So right off the bat, like this team got instantly better, and they did the one thing they lacked really on that Grizzlies squad was like a competent 3-point threat, something that Mike Miller is. So I gotta say this team's probably pretty good, though. Just having Mike Miller on an all-time team, it's just gross. Like it's like super gross. I don't know how to feel about that, but whatever.
solid playoff team, but didn't end up accomplishing anything major. But hey,
I mean, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals like 3 years in a row, but whatever. That's cool. Yeah,
with
fine.
both Gasol brothers on the same team, who were both All-Stars, who knows? The number 27 spot goes to the Pacers.
Pacers,
who have
27,
Malcolm
damn.
Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, David West, and Jermaine O'Neal.
So Reggie Miller just doesn't exist, right? That's what's happening? Ron Artest doesn't exist. I mean, Paul George is arguably better than Ron Artest anyway, if we're being completely honest. David West is the only one of these guys who's kind of a controversial one, I guess, that I totally agree with. But this is horrendous. Are you going to explain? Please tell me you explain.
Mark Jackson is the one who usually takes the spot as the Pacers' all-time point guard, but I think after this season, Brogdon can come out as the better player. Then
I will say I do agree with that statement, so I don't think that's necessarily wrong.
Oladipo over Reggie Miller for what he brings on offense and
Sir, my God. I'm about to puke. That was so gross. No way you just said that. Like, there's no chance that I just heard what I think I just heard. Right? Did you just say, hey, try to tell me that Victor Oladipo is more talented on both ends of the floor than Reggie Miller? And look, dude, I'm a Bulls fan. I despise Reggie Miller. I hate him. I hate his face. Every time I see him on either in an analyst role or on a commercial, I get mad because I hate him so much. But even I can sit here and tell you that Victor Oladipo is not better than Reggie Miller. I mean, this was made a year ago, right? Victor Oladipo, was he even going off? I mean, he came off like a year of going off, but like, dude, are you serious right now? This is just like the worst take ever. This is the worst take. I'm confident to say that there is no possible way that this dude makes me more mad than this take right here. And I just don't even like Reggie Miller, dude. Like, I hate Reggie Miller. I don't even care if he's in 2K. You guys know that. I don't care, right? Like, people tell me all the time they want Reggie Miller. I don't care if he's in 2K at all. But, like, dude, Victor Oladipo over Reggie Miller, the Brogdon over Mark Jackson thing, yeah, I could see it. Brogdon looks like a more talented offensive player, I guess, whatever. But Reggie Miller hitting the bench unit for Oladipo because he is the better offensive or the better complete player. He's the more complete player. I can't even talk. I'm so mad. Dude, that's gross. That's bad. It was L, bad.
defense. And with the rest of them and Jermaine down low, the all-time Pacers would be a real problem.
This is, I can't even, why are you doing this? Why did you put Victor Oladipo up here? That's so bad. You know that's bad, right? You have to know that's bad. You did that for trolling purposes. There's no way. This guy has to be like a lifelong Reggie hater, and he just wanted to spite him in some way, which I respect that as a Bulls fan. But like, if he's dead serious, I don't even know what to say.
Problem. At 26, the Knicks have Walt Frazier, John Starks, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, and Patrick.
I mean, yeah, I don't really see anything wrong with this. I mean, if you talk to a current day Knicks fan right now, they'll try to put Julius Randle over here for some reason, but this makes total sense. Amari was a beast when he first came to New York. You know, Eddie Curry deserves to be here. No, he doesn't, but yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. Starks is a beast. Walt was great. Melo's mellow. Yeah, this team's solid. Like, it's good.
Some people might have expected the Knicks to be ranked.
And, like, potentially I have a lower bar right now after what he did to Reggie Miller. Like, potentially that I'm sitting here like, you know what? He didn't spout some, like, absolute heresy like he did with the Pacers team, so it's fine. And I guess that's, like, all I have right now. But, yeah, thumbs up. This squad's fine.
Higher, but I mean, Starks isn't too great.
It's actually pretty gross when you think about the Knicks' history.
They have been considered stars, but they were never even the.
Also, can we take people from like certain spans? Because then I'm taking like Lynn Sanity, Jeremy Lin.
Best at their positions, even when they were active players. In the number 25
I agree with
spot,
that.
The Pelicans have Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, Tyreek Evans, Anthony Davis.
Why'd they pick this picture of Tyreek Evans, dog? Why'd you do my man Tyreek like that? That being said, this squad makes, yeah, this is pretty much what I would expect right here. I mean, who else are you going to throw in for Drew Holiday? Like Anthony Morrow or Eric Gordon? Like, they don't really have a rich history of guard play, for sure. Like, they don't. You can make no, Tyreek was really good for them. I was going to say you can make a case maybe like, I think Trevor Ariza was there for a little while. He was pretty decent, I think. You can make a case for Tyson Chandler over Boogie, but Boogie was such a good offensive player. I don't think that's the case. This is probably the ideal starting five for the Pelicans.
I got the Pelicans ranked higher than a lot of lists do because with how good CP3 was in his run
no,
there,
they're ranked pretty
the fact that
appropriately,
Drew
I would say.
20 a game while being a top tier defender. Tyreek was solid. AD was as good as he has.
Tyreek was
and
solid.
DeMarcus Cousins
That's all.
still put up
That's all.
25 and 11
No other
before being
information.
injured,
He was solid.
This an easy choice.
Okay.
Because it all means they have a great combination of offense.
I'm gonna try not to
defense,
pause as
and
much, by the way.
three-point scoring.
So
The 24 spot goes to the Wolves with Sam Cassell, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins.
You're going to leave my man Spreewell out of here. You're going to put Wiggins in here instead of Spreewell. Latrell Sprewell. Pain. Just pain.
Kevin Garnett and Karl Anthony Towns. And because the
Fair
former
enough.
MVP
Oh my
and
God.
Kevin Garnett's at power forward, it meant that we couldn't include Kevin.
It's like so far this guy is somehow biased towards new school NBA players while simultaneously being biased towards old school NBA players. Like, he hasn't really picked a lane yet, but he's just making questionable decisions for the sake of making questionable decisions. Is Wiggins a bad player? No. Like, Wiggins isn't a bad player. He gets a lot more flack than he deserves, I think, a lot of the time. But Latrell Sprewell was a literal NBA All-Star and an incredibly good player for the Minnesota Timberwolves that dragged them from having one of the worst records in the NBA. And with him and Sam Cassell joining the team, they had one of the best records in the NBA and made an actual playoff run. And then he demanded more money, and then the team fell apart. But that's besides the point.
Love, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it works out.
Kevin
But
Love,
still,
whatever,
just
I
like
don't care.
Jimmy Wiggins and Towns played together.
Nobody's
in the
mad
past,
that you left
and they
Kevin
were a
Love off of
playoff
this. That's
team,
not why we're
assuming
upset,
they
I
can all
promise.
coexist. Adding in an all-star in Cassell and an MVP level Kevin
Yeah,
Garnett
Jimmy Butler,
and
by the
Wolves
way, does
success.
deserve to
Number
be there.
23 goes to the Mavs for Steve Nash, Jason Terry, Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki. I really wanted to put Luka Doncic over Michael Finley.
Why would you not? Like, why would you? This was from a year ago. This wasn't from like 3 years ago, right? This is from a year ago. You knew Luka was good, right? And as somebody who watched a lot of Mavericks basketball in the 2000s, which I did, I really enjoyed those Mavericks teams. Like, I was a big fan of Michael Finley. Josh Howard, I think, was somebody I definitely was higher on than Finley, but at the same time, like, I respect Michael Finley's game. But to sit here with the audacity that you have and put him over Luka Doncic, there's also Jason Terry in the mix, and As much as I enjoyed him throwing gang signs up with Deshaun Stevenson in the 2011 finals, look it up, it's fun. I just, dude, like, no. There's no way. There's no, just no.
Finley, but I just couldn't
No.
yet. Finley was a 2-time All-Star, and Luka's only played 1 season. As for the rest of the 5, though...
Okay, so
they're
you must have
won a
done this
championship-
before the 2019 season. Fair enough. Dirk and Tyson Chandler, yeah, no. I mean, without a doubt, those two make sense. I mean, who else are you going to throw in here? Like Eric Dampier? But with that being said, by the way, like I would honestly, over Michael Finley, even throw in someone like Rolando Balkman Blackman. Yeah, and you could even argue Mark Aguirre even potentially over Finley, though I like Finley over those guys. I would definitely hear those arguments out. Jason Terry, just no. I would put Jim Jackson over Jason Terry, if I'm being completely honest, for this all-time team. No disrespect to Jason Terry, but Jim Jackson was the man, dude. Also, there's like Mashburn. You know, Mashburn was somebody you could have threw in here. The big man position are definitely locked. Like I said, like you throwing like Boban or Eric Dampier up in the mix over here, or Sean Bradley. Like that's basically all you have, so... These two hurt, though. I don't know about
with
that.
2 of these guys, and the other 2 were arguably improvements from who he had on his team when he won that championship. And we're not talking about regular old Dirk. We're talking about a former MVP, which is great.
I mean, we're talking about the fact that, I mean, not downplaying the 2011 Mavericks or anything, but you said look who they had on that championship squad. Like, there aren't 2 of them in your all-time Mavericks top 5. Like, literally.
Aside from Tyson, I do think these guys would be lacking on defense. 22 is the Brooklyn Nets, who have Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Dr. J, Buck Williams, and Brooke Lopez. Almost all of these guys.
No,
really
I
had
agree
their
with this
best
one
years on the
completely.
Nets, and as a team, they're definitely solid. You got
Yeah,
3
obviously,
top tier-
like at this point in the 2021 season, we know how Kevin Durant turned out. So I would probably Kevin Durant played a lot of power forward, a lot of small ball for them. So I'd probably get rid of Buck Williams and put Kevin Durant down here. That does kind of hurt their defense as a team, but this team is outscoring almost every team that they play with the combination of Carter, Dr. J, Kevin Durant, and Jason Kidd. And they don't even really have a lack of shooting. Vince Carter has always been kind of an average three-point shooter. Dr. J is really a non-shooter, but he can hit the open mid-range and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's going to completely brick from outside if he's wide open. There's a good chance he hits it. Jason Kidd was a pretty decent shooter when he was wide open as well. He could create a little bit too. Brooke Lopez, even back in his Brooklyn days, was a pretty solid shooter, especially for a center. Back then, centers didn't really shoot too much. This is back in like the early 2010s. Aside from like Brooke Lopez, Bosch, and there were a lot of traditional centers back then, so he was kind of prototype. And I mean, he's still shooting very well for Milwaukee for a center. That is like Bruce. I almost said Bruce Lopez. Unless there's a third Lopez brother I don't know about. I don't think that exists. But yeah, KD would probably be right here, and that brings their team up a little bit.
On the perimeter, and even though the front court isn't as good, they can both still hold their own. 21, the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
For Allen Iverson, David Thompson, Alex English, Dan Issel, and Nicole.
Okay, this has to be the whitest front court in basketball, right? Like, this has to be the whitest front court that we're going to see tonight. We got 2 guys who don't even look like they're professional athletes. We got Jokic, who literally looks like he just smokes an entire pack of cigarettes every single day, and then just comes in hoops. We got Dan Issel, who used to, but he quit, clearly, because he lost some teeth. These 2 do not look like they could hoop at an NBA level, but somehow they did. That's respectable. I'm not going to lie, dude. The lack of Carmelo Anthony is kind of whack. But, like, I do understand Alex English in that spot. Personally, I think Chauncey Billups was actually the better player for these Denver Nuggets teams over Allen Iverson. Like, he definitely brought more to this team than AI did because he just didn't fit well with Melo. Maybe with this team, he fits a little bit better. David Thompson was a beast, so I actually like this. I'm guessing my boy Kiki Vanderwee is on the bench. That'd be my guess. But the rest of this team is fine. I might even pick Kenyon Martin over Dan Issel, though. Dan Issel was solid, though, so I don't know.
Jokic. And this is a weird one.
Look at this man's
Might have
tooth
expected
gap,
Carmelo
bro.
as
This
small
shit is
forward because
crazy.
he was great in Denver. I mean, he had 5 seasons averaging over 25 a game for them. But you gotta remember, Alex English is one of the league's most underrated scorers, and he had 8 seasons averaging.
Look, my man, you have had some god-tier awful takes in this video, but this is the one that I will co-sign. Alex English was fire.
Over 25 a game for them.
My man was
Then it
hooping,
tough
and this
at
was
center,
back when
but
you
I
can
do
punch
think
people in the
Jokic
head while they were
deserves
going
to
for
be in
layups.
this
So
5 over
respect to
Dembe
Alex English.
because of his all-around game. plus the scoring ability of all of them, combined with David Thompson and Allen Iverson.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a case
play
for
big part
Mutombo,
in
but
what
Jokic,
ranks
I
them
think, is
this
better.
high. Number 20 belongs to the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay,
who have
interesting.
Pistol Pete, Joe Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Bob Pettit, and Dikembe Mutombo.
Fire. Literally fire right here. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not sure how Bob Pettit holds up against modern NBA talent. Like, if I'm being completely honest, he only likes one other guy in this team. That's how it appears. Look at how much fur this man had. They just don't make athletes like this. They definitely do not make basketball players like this. My man was hooping with a full, like, body filled with hair. Oh, dude, he was probably sweating so much. It was probably so gross guarding this man. Pistol Pete is the ideal point guard for this team. I know there's some like wild 17-year-old Hawks fans that are going to try to say Trae Young deserves to be here. That's not accurate, like, at all. Especially wasn't last year. It's definitely not now. Joe Johnson was a beast. Dominique makes total sense. Dikembe is, a god. Bob Pettit could shoot, and I'm confident that if you told him to go out and shoot threes, like, he could probably figure it out. Like, he's not going to he's not going to, like, be more athletic than the people he's playing against. He's going to have to figure out crafty ways to shoot. And never count out Maravich. My man was averaging 40 with no three-point line, so imagine what he does with a three-point line.
No Mutombo for Denver, but we made it up by including him here. And when you combine his defense with the scoring,
you know what? I respect that because he's a better fit on this team anyway. That's all I got to say about that.
All these other guys, you got an elite team. Mutombo was averaging a steady 3 blocks.
The man speaking facts right now. Okay,
while
okay.
The rest of these guys averaged over 25 points a game at one point in their Hawks career. 19 goes to the Blazers with Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Scottie Pippen, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Bill Walton.
All right. I love Scottie Pippen. I'm a Bulls fan. I was raised to believe that Scottie Pippen was one of the best players of all time and one of the best defenders of all time, if he was not the best defender of all time, especially at the wing position, right? But by the year 2000, when he was hooping for the Blazers, Scottie Pippen was a bit older. And I would be remiss to give this a pass when you could slide Clyde Drexler over to the small forward. He has played a lot of minutes at the small forward as well during his Blazer days. And put a prime Brandon Roy right here, and I think that would make the team a little bit better. That's my own opinion on it, but this team's fine if you want to go this route. I'm kind of doing some mental gymnastics on how to figure out how to get Brandon Roy in here because Brandon Roy was so cold. So
the only real weak point of this team is Scottie Pippen because he was in the later years of his
career. Audacity. I mean, he's not wrong, but when you say weak point and Scottie Pippen in the same sentence, it like triggers something in my brain. He's actually totally right. That was kind of the weak point of the squad, but I still don't enjoy hearing that. It makes me sad. So I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Career. But even then, he was still a great defender. And this 5 really has everything. Damon Drexler on offense, Aldridge and Walton as a dominant front court, and
Bill
still
Walton's
able to
so
do the dirty
sick,
work.
dude.
18, the Toronto Raptors with Kyle Lowry, Vince Carter, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Bosh, and Serge Ibaka. See, this one hurts.
That's about all you got.
Both Tracy McGrady and DeMar DeRozan.
All right, let me address the GOAT in the room here. Tracy McGrady, when he played for the Toronto Raptors, was a hyper athletic but super raw, skilled wing. I do not think in his Raptor days he was more talented than the Kawhi Leonard that we saw on the Raptors. If you even look back, he wasn't even better than Vince at that time. So I understand leaving him off for those two guys. Same with DeRozan. I would say the same thing about T-Mac and DeRozan. They were very similar players. DeRozan just never elevated his game and gained the same jump shot and passing ability that like T-Mac did, which is what made him great. So this makes sense.
But it had to be done.
I like it.
From that, though, this team would give people some real trouble.
Who's this guy playing defense right here? Hold up. Like, okay, respect to Kawhi. He's a great player, but this is the guy you're warming him up with? You're warming him up with this guy? Like, for real?
Shoot from the outside. Kawhi can put the clamps on anyone and allow
like, what's his defense,
basket, as well as them always having a...
Also, they literally do not have another point guard in their history. Like, who are you going to throw up there? Skip to my Lou? You're going to throw Damon Stoudemire up there, all 5'9" of him?
Means this is a complete lineup. Then at number 17, the Pistons have Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, Blake Griffin, and Bob.
What? Dog. No. No, you didn't. You didn't do this. You did not put Blake Griffin in here. This is a troll. This isn't real. This can't be real. There's no possible way this is real. All right, let's go one by one here. Isaiah Thomas, perfect pick. I'm personally more of a Chauncey Billups fan, but I understand Isaiah is the better player. I get that. Joe Dumars. Okay, he is. I don't think he's necessarily the better player, but I could understand why you would put Joe Dumars on an all-time starting five for the Pistons over Richard Hamilton. I get that, right? Grant Hill was an absolute demon when he played for the Pistons. Yeah, there's no argument you're going to have from me here. I know there's at least one person in the comments who's going to be like, where's Terry Dissinger? He wasn't good in real life, dude. I promise. I promise he wasn't. But, like, the audacity to put Blake Griffin over here. By the way, Bob Lanier, A-okay. Totally fine with that. But Blake Griffin over Dennis Rodman, Ben Wallace, or Rasheed Wallace, it really doesn't matter. Either one of the Wallaces. Or even like Bill Laimbeer. He played some power forward minutes at some points. Like, he technically registers. But I would say the fact that you put Blake Griffin over Dennis Rodman, one of the best defenders and rebounders the league has ever seen, especially in the front court, and Ben Wallace, literally one of the best defensive players we have ever seen pick up a basketball or play on the court, period. And you're going to put soft-ass Blake Griffin over here. This man was tanking so hard because he didn't even want to play for the Pistons. No. I'm old-heading right now, and I don't even care. No, get him out of here. No. Get him out of here.
At center, I was originally deciding between Andre Drummond or Bill Laimbeer.
Can ignore that.
But I forgot all about
Can ignore
Laimbeer,
the Drummond
who
talk.
definitely
He's not that
deserves it
bad,
more.
but come on.
I mean, he averaged at least 20 and 10 in nearly all of his 9 seasons.
Yeah, Lanier was
Detroit.
goated, dude.
Something Drummond and
There's
Bill
nothing
have
wrong with
still
that
never
one
done.
at all.
And with taking him, the Bad Boys Pistons backcourt, to go with two great scorers and all-around players in Hill and Griffin, this is another team with a perfect blend of everything, from offense and defense to
I just can't get
aggression
over
and
the fact
skill.
that he has Blake Griffin in
16,
here.
The
Like,
Cavaliers with Kyrie.
I truly cannot get over this. Like, why? Why did you have Blake Griffin in there? Why did you have Big Blake in the mix? That's just pain.
Irving, Austin Carr, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Brad Daugherty. It's basically the 2016 Cavs, with an okay player in Carr. And
Okay,
Daugherty
Carr was
a
not an
20 and
okay
10
player.
guy in
Carr
his
was a
best
very
years.
solid
With LeBron,
NBA
this team
player
already
and
beat the
multiple-time All-Star,
Warriors,
but that's
so
cool.
adding an
Yeah,
All-Star
fine.
center only helps their case as an all-time team. Now, I gotta say that it's already been tricky on who to rank where, but it's around this point where
I
things
don't
get
know.
really tough.
I don't know. That's
so all
tough.
these rankings
But I'm
might
not
be
going to
exact,
argue with this team
but
too
teams
much.
will
This
be in a
team's fine.
general area of where
Honestly,
they
with
can
as
go.
disappointed
And
as
that
I am
leads
with
us
the
to number
Pistons,
15 in
it's
the
fine.
OKC Thunder. In Russell Westbrook, Ray Allen, Kevin Durant, Sean Kemp, and Jack Sikma. Originally, I had James Harden as a starting shooting guard. But then I remembered Ray Allen.
Okay, first off, this man said originally he had James Harden as the starting shooting guard. Like, no, dude, you didn't. There's no way. You could not have done that. This man was a sixth man of the year. Ray Allen was a GOAT when he played there. Russell Westbrook, you could argue. For Russell Westbrook, you could argue for Gary Payton, why he put sluggish, slow old man Gary Payton over here on the Heat is beyond me. I personally think that Gary Payton makes more sense for the team. Just because he's a better defender and facilitator, and when you have this much scoring on the team as is, I don't think you really need Russell Westbrook in here ball hogging trying to get triple doubles. So Gary Payton, I think, makes more sense, but it's a wash. It just depends what era you prefer, I guess. It doesn't really matter.
On the Sonics, and I'm not putting OKC James Harden anywhere near Sonics Ray Allen. But we have
As
him,
you shouldn't.
2 MVPs, and
Yo, where do I hold up?
Which is what landed.
Yo, where do I get this job? Can somebody hook me up? Like, where do I get the job where I run after NBA players with this, like, little foam baseball bat thing and try to get in their way? Like, what was that, dude? That was sick. Like, hold up. Yeah, I want this job. I want to be this guy. Like, my man just chasing him with the little bat. Like, what do I do? Just, like, poke him in the side? What's the job description here? Yeah, I definitely want that job. So I just like run around. I have a little like a towel tucked into my basketball shorts. I'm significantly less athletic and significantly more white, which means I cannot play basketball. So all I can do in the NBA is roll around with a little like foam bat and just poke NBA players when they go to shoot so they can practice or something. That's sick. I want that job so bad. Like, somebody hire me. I'll be good at it, I promise. I'll dress like Kirk Heinrich.
Which is what landed OKC in the top 15.
Still
The
think it should be
Utah
Gary
Jazz
Payton.
are number 14 because they have John Stockton, Pete Maravich, Andre Kirilenko, Karl Malone, and Rudy Gobert. And here we have one of the best duos in NBA history.
I mean,
go along with one of the best.
I mean, this team's going to run into some legal problems in 2021. I could promise you right now. John Stockton's probably going to say something racial, and Karl Malone's going to, do Karl Malone things. That's going to happen.
History. A solid player. And
this is a really white team too. This is like a super white team.
Almost took the spot for
oh yeah, you got to throw Mark Eaton to RIP for sure, dude.
He's a much better offensive player, and
I don't think he. All right, I don't really think Rudy Gobert is that much better of an offensive player. In regards to Mark Eaton, because Mark Eaton was 7'4", and when he put his arms up, he literally almost touched the basket, so you can just kind of tip it in. It's kind of a wash, but I guess Rudy Gobert is more athletic, so you could argue that.
Plus, himself and Maravich are good complements to play off of Stockton and Malone's pick and roll game. 13, the Phoenix Suns with
Steve
this
is gonna be fun.
Devin Booker, Sean Marion, Charles Barkley, and Amari Stoudemire. Just
Yeah,
alone, Nash and Amari themselves were one of the greatest guard and big men.
No complaints. It's pretty on point. I don't really think there's any other players that I could think of off the top of my head that really truly deserve to be there. Like, I really like Eddie Johnson, but I can't really say for certain how good Eddie Johnson would have been if he didn't start doing massive amounts of cocaine. So I can't argue that one.
This
is
Nash
the squad.
Was a two-time MVP. Sean Marion was a lockdown defender.
Yes, he was. Devin Booker wore a headband.
And Charles Barkley was an MVP while on the Suns.
Yep.
While he never played with any other stars. So we can only imagine just how good all these guys would be together.
Are you talking about
the Sacramento King?
Hold on. Did you talk about Charles Barkley? Were you saying Charles Barkley has never played with any other stars? Because he did, and it went terribly. And it was the 99 Houston Rockets, and it was bad. Granted, they were all on their way out, but still.
Robertson, Mitch Richmond, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and DeMarcus Cousins. And keep in mind
this
that
team was fire.
How seriously good is the scent of Gain dish soap?
Kayla, why are you in our house?
Oscar Robertson was averaging triple-doubles.
Yeah, I mean,
then Richmond and Stojakovic both had seasons.
I don't have anything negative to say about this team. What are you gonna throw Doug Christie in here?
42% from three, which was great for their era. And Webber and Cousins also both had seasons where they averaged at least 25 and 12. I don't see any weaknesses on this roster.
This is a fire squad.
They made it just outside of the top 10.
And I think Boogie would actually be like a good player.
Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Alonzo Mourning.
Yep.
And
fire.
we had to give Mourning the slight edge over Shaq on this one. And
yeah, no, you should definitely give Alonzo Mourning the edge over Shaq because Shaq was like 34 and like fat with a Fu Manchu mustache, as he called it, not me. Yeah, dude, no. Shaq was still pretty solid when he played for the Heat in 05 and 06, but at the same time, Alonzo Mourning was such a great defensive player. Yeah, this team's washing it. Like, this team's stupid.
5 and 6 version of Wade is in the starting five. They'd only be that much better. Plus, when they did all play together, their point guard was Mario Chalmers, and their center was Chris
Whoa. We're not disrespecting Mario Chalmers out here. First off, they split time between Mario Chalmers and Norris Cole, okay, number one. You never really knew what danger was coming off the bench and which danger was starting. And Chris Anderson really filled a great role for that team. Also, Chris Anderson has just the dumbest tattoos, and they're so sick because of how dumb they are. I really enjoy it. He's got, like, just mad wings on him, and, like, there's, like, just random, like, I don't know what writing that is. He doesn't either. There's no way he knows what this says. The guy who tattooed it on him has no idea what this says. He just Googled an image. He just has Freebird on his neck. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Replace both of them with two all-time greats, and they easily deserve to be ranked this high. Number 11.
Also, don't forget, LeBron was like chock full of steroids at this time, so my man was jumping out of the fucking stadium.
Belongs to the Clippers. For Chris Paul, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Blake Griffin, and Bob.
Oh, my man definitely recorded this before last year's playoffs, for sure. For sure. But then again, at the same time, the Clippers really don't have a rich history of guard play. Like, they really don't. I mean, if you didn't pick one of these guys, maybe you have to pick, like, Darius Miles or, like, Corey Mcgrady. And I don't necessarily think those guys deserve to be here. I think Kawhi and Paul George probably are better than them. You could make a case Lamar Odom deserves to be up here, but it probably won't hold up in court if I'm being honest.
McAdoo. All right, this is where teams really start getting taken to an elite level. So we have part of the Lob City Clippers combined with the present-day Clippers and Bob McAdoo, who averaged 34 and 14 in his best season. And they're great because there's
Bob
no
McAdoo was
weaknesses
sick,
here.
dog.
Lob
Like,
City
that's
Clippers
a
never won
fact.
championship or even made it to
That's
the
an
finals,
absolute
but
fact. Bob
combine them
McAdoo was
with a better
incredible,
big
so
man
I don't
in
really have
PG
anything
and
to say
Kawhi,
about
who
that.
instantly made the Clippers championship favorites this year, and that easily makes them one of the top all-time.
Yeah, that did not turn out very well, let me tell you that.
Perfect blend of offense and defense. Number 10, the Orlando Magic with Penny Hardaway, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Rashard Lewis, and Shaq.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I don't really have any arguments there. First off, you see Tracy McGrady, you know I'm on board right away. Grant Hill really did not play for the Orlando Magic just because he was so riddled with injuries. So I don't necessarily know if I would take him in that spot. I honestly might even take Hito Turkoglu. Hito was incredibly good for them. So
Robertson, Ray Allen, Bob Dandridge, Giannis, and Kareem. This Bucks version of Oscar Robertson wasn't as good as he was on the Kings.
Yeah, but
because
he was
in
still
Milwaukee,
solid,
he was
dude.
averaging about 17 and 7, which still
he's
isn't
not good.
bad,
He's averaged
but
17 and
the Bucks
7.
version
It's
of
fine.
Kareem was the best version of himself as a player, with
So-
him averaging 30.
The one thing I will say about the Bucks right now is Bob Dandridge was a good player in his own respect, but he was a slasher and a defender for the most part, and he had a little bit of a mid-range game, but he was not a three-point shooter, right? Technically, could you argue he's the one that deserves to get up there? Yeah, you could, but I think it would actually make more sense for this squad for it to be Oscar Robertson, Ray Allen, Michael Redd, Giannis, and Kareem, just because without Michael Redd added to the mix, you have massive spacing problems. So that's just kind of the only thing. That's like a technical thing, though. I mean, like, I'm not going to fault him for throwing Bob Dandridge up. It's kind of what I was saying when this guy is both biased towards new players and biased towards old players. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I just feel like Bob Dandridge was like a weird player to pull out. But that team's heat, though. You add Michael Redd to that squad. Defensively at the wing, you're probably going to get killed, but yeah, that's a hyper-athletic front court. I don't really know what to say about that. That's young Kareem, too. Like, that's my man scooting down the court. Like, that's a fire squad right there. I'm guessing Monte Ellis is probably on the bench, right? That'd be my guess. Brandon Jennings, Monte Ellis, point guard, shooting guard on the bench, I would assume. Correct. You know what? In regards to Michael Redd, you could even throw Chris Middleton in there. Does he deserve to be on the all-time Bucks squad? I mean, not necessarily. I don't know yet. I mean, I guess we'll see after this finals run. We'll see what he does, but that's another player you could throw there. Just makes more sense than Bob Dandridge. Also, Sidney Moncrief. He doesn't deserve to be there, but he was fire. Okay.
And Dr. J.
Okay.
Charles Barkley and
Okay, all right. All right. My God. Okay. Right off the bat, right? Ben Simmons, right? This was made a year ago, I'm guessing before the 2019 season, so he hasn't seen or anticipated the fall off of Ben Simmons. This team has absolutely no shooting whatsoever, like zero. Allen Iverson can shoot the three-pointer, but he is a shot creator for the most part, and he never really relied on the three-pointer. That was kind of never his thing. He could shoot them just fine, but he was never somebody who relied on shooting threes a lot, which is if he came up in the modern-day NBA, he would have developed into that, no problem, but that's just a fact we have to look at. So right off the bat, slide AI to the point guard. He's not the greatest point guard in the world, but you did have him playing point guard for the Nuggets, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. You just moved him over to shooting guard so you could fit Ben Simmons in here. That's the only thing. That's the reason you did that. That's fine. Slide him over to the point guard position. Andre Iguodala right here at the shooting position. Iguodala in his prime is better, at least right now. Ben Simmons could make some strides and become better, but as of right now, prime Andre Iguodala is better than Ben Simmons. There's no question about it because he can actually score the basketball at a high clip in a playoff game. Why can he do that? Because you know he can actually torch you from outside and torch you from the mid-range, in addition to booming on you. Also, Andre Iguodala, never scared. My man has never been scared. That is something. Look at Ben Simmons in this photo. He looks terrified. I don't even know what he's looking at, but he looks afraid. Literally. That's the only thing. You could even make the case that like you could slide him over to point guard, Julius Erving to shooting guard and then throw Bobby Jones in here if you wanted to, but I think Andre Iguodala makes the most sense. So this isn't as outrageous when I take into the context that this was made like a year ago, and I totally understand that. But yeah, this isn't like the Pacers or the Pistons one where I actually like felt ill. So I'm gonna let it rock.
Out of
It's
all
fine.
of these guys, Dr. J was the only one who was able to win Philly a championship.
Also, Moses Malone is
That was
there,
with
but I do
all of them
understand leaving.
alone.
Who
Together,
is
this
that? Glenn
is
Big Baby
completely
Davis in a
different
Jordan
team as you'll
jersey?
get,
No, you
but
tell him to
size
take that
doesn't
off. What are you
affect that.
doing?
And
No
that
way.
guy's attitude.
No chance.
And
Who allowed that?
Barkley's weight,
The
but you get point.
audacity.
Number 6.
Also,
the
hold up.
Rockets with Russell Westbrook.
Hold on. That did not just happen, right? No. I
But
did
that
not
was
just see
with all
that.
of them alone.
Oh, hold
Together,
on.
this
Wait,
as
what is this?
complete of a team as you'll get,
Ben
besides
Simmons with a
Simmons jumping.
turnaround three-pointer cash. Oh my God. See, this man can shoot. He
And
just
the
doesn't
guy's
want to shoot.
attitude. And
That's just-
Barkley's weight,
he-
but you get the point. Number 6,
just gross.
the Rockets with Russell
Okay.
Westbrook, James Harden,
No.
Tracy McGrady,
No.
Moses
No.
Malone, and Hakeem.
All right, right off the bat. Russell Westbrook, you can tell this was made before the 2019 season. Like, you can already tell that because he has Russell Westbrook up here. So he definitely didn't watch Russell Westbrook play for the Rockets. Which I will say, I'll be the first person to defend Russell Westbrook. A lot of that was not his fault. Like, that's just how the Rockets play basketball. They should have known he was going to be a poor fit from the minute they traded for him. Like, especially in a D'Antoni offense, like, he was never going to work out. But yeah, Chris Paul deserves to be right here. Like, Chris Paul instead of Russell Westbrook, and we have like a pretty good squad. I have really no issues with it. I don't like how they used the really old dusty T-Mac right here as this photo. The audacity to disrespect a legend. But Moses Malone, Hakeem, yeah, fire, all fire. Yeah, Clyde Drexler doesn't really have a spot here. So I'll let it rock.
hard to rank
It's
all
fine. I don't know, dude. Like, why would you put Russell Westbrook here? James Harden deserves to be here. I think there will be some overlap. Tracy McGrady has never had an issue playing without the ball in his hands. So, I mean, he's never really had to do that, but I'm just going to pretend like he's never had an issue. And my man Hakeem is obviously the GOAT. Okay, this one's going to be
Spurs
interesting.
For Tony Parker, George Gervin, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan,
Okay.
and David
All
Robinson.
right.
Individually, all
That
these
is
guys
why
might not
I
be
was
as good
concerned.
or as-
Like, I was definitely concerned because I thought for a second that he was going to put Manu ahead of George Gervin because that's something I often see when I watch these like lists. Is I often see people put Manu at the shooting guard position and completely sleep on George Gervin like he didn't exist. So I'm glad that he did that. Is it this same white guy who always trains every player?
Kyrie Irving, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Bill Russell.
Okay. Okay. First off, no Dino Raja, which is like obviously fake. Dino is the greatest player to ever touch a basketball, so that's obviously factual. But like Kyrie, the Celtics have never really had a wealth of like all-time great point guards. Like, they really haven't. It's really down to like Kyrie and Bob Cousy. And Bob Cousy, I'm not even kidding, smoked a pack of cigarettes per day. So I don't know if he could handle the rigorous athleticism of today's NBA, and especially against a lot of these all-time teams filled with like hyper-athletic people. I don't think Bob Cousy could handle it. I think if you put him up against Russell Westbrook, he is actually going to have a heart attack and probably say some slurs, if I had to guess. John Havlicek over Ray Allen. I like totally agree with that statement. I do. Yeah, McHale, though, I don't know, dude. Like, Kevin Garnett's right there. Like, I don't know. Kevin Garnett's right there.
Now,
Like, I don't know if I could realistically put McHale over Kevin Garnett, but I could see your point if you think that, because McHale was an all-world talent. Havlicek is the one I most agree with. I'm actually shocked he did that, too. I thought for sure Ray Allen was going to be in the mix on this one. Bill Russell is, yeah, I mean, pretty obvious. There's no one else to really put there. Yeah, no, I mean, Kendrick Perkins, no. Golden State, okay.
Durant, Draymond Green, and Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think there's an argument here. And look, when it comes to Draymond, I don't really think there's not a large amount of power forwards or even like additional centers that really played for the Warriors that I think would make a lot of sense for this team. The one thing you could do that's kind of fluctuate, it's like a little loophole, I guess. You're kind of messing with the rules a little bit. Would be to slide Kevin Durant down to the power forward and throw Chris Mullin over here. Like, I would definitely do something like that because that's like one of the most dangerous 3-point shooters in the entire history of the NBA, and you're adding it to a team that consists of another two of the most, if not the most, dangerous 3-point shooters in the NBA. This team would be tough to beat if you took off Draymond. But Draymond is a glue guy. He makes sense. He plays defense and stuff like that. But you also got a literal in his prime Wilt Chamberlain who's like runs like a 4.2 40 and is 7 feet tall and bench presses 500 pounds. So I don't know, dude. That one's tough.
73-9 with Steph Curry.
Yeah, I mean, they did go 73-9, though, I will say, weak NBA season. But that's also because I'm a Bulls fan, so I try to discredit that Warriors run as much as humanly possible because I'm a Bulls fan. So, you know, I like to say my biases out. And here we go,
Derrick
Bulls.
Rose, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Art Gilmore. They'd have
Oh, Art Gilmore, huh? I'll be completely honest. I did not think he was going to go with Art Gilmore. I really did not think that's who I was about to see. I thought for sure I was going to see Joakim Noah. I'm proud of you for that. I mean, realistically, yeah, you could say Art Gilmore, you could say Joakim. Like, it doesn't really matter. The center position is not the important position on this team. Even in regards to rebounding, like, you have Dennis Rodman, one of the best rebounders of all time, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think. And then you got two hyper-athletic guards, like in Derrick Rose and Michael Jordan, and then another great defender in Scottie Pippen. This team cannot shoot, though. Like, I will say that right now. But I think if you told Jordan he had to shoot more threes, he'd figure it out. So I'm not really too worried about that.
The three stars of the greatest team of all time.
Yeah, like, come on.
This
This team's stupid. And Art Gilmore, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with Art Gilmore. I don't think he, like, doesn't deserve to be there or anything, but, like, it's just weird seeing Art Gilmore. Oh, God, yep, here we go.
Competition for in the Los Angeles Lakers. For having Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Curry.
Sir, Anthony Davis, look, you stated at the beginning of this video you haven't even seen Anthony Davis play for the Lakers, right? So this is pre-2019 season. I know he did not make the Lakers all-time team for you. Like, I know that didn't happen. I'm not seeing that correctly. Yeah, that's just actually painful. Anthony Davis should not be here. If we're talking about guys... Now, look, realistically, if you look at the history of the Los Angeles Lakers, they have really never had a superstar power forward. They've always kind of had a superstar point guard or, you know, a guard, someone in the backcourt, or they've had like a superstar center. Even going back to the 70s with those teams with like Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, etc. Or going to those squads that are going to be more traditional when it comes to like the Kobe Bryant, Shaq squads, or the Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol. But those weren't a twofer. Those were like a very well-rounded team. Either way, like the Magic and Kareem squads, etc. So, I mean, personally, I'd probably put James Worthy, potentially move Bron down to a small ball power forward. And if we're not going that route and we're just going to say, you know what, we're going big with it. I mean, dude, Kareem power forward, Shaq center, right? Like, that's how you got to do it. I don't necessarily think... the logic is there. I understand the logic that you're coming from. I just don't like... I don't know, dude. It's just like not... For me, as like an older basketball fan, I guess. I'm 29. I'm not even that old. And I'm still going to sit here and tell you you're wild for throwing Anthony Davis up here. Like, you're crazy for that. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That's except that I will say I'm putting AD over Pau, because while Pau did win championships, overall in terms of skill as a player, I think AD will come out much better than Pau was.
No, I mean, that's definitely accurate. I think AD is a superior player to Pau. And I'm not even going to sit here and argue Pau Gasol. Granted, he is a better complement for that team, I think, especially when you got three super duper ball dominant players on that squad already, and to throw AD in the mix is not really that great. But you do have one of the best passers of all time in Magic Johnson, so he'd find a way to make it work. But I do want to see the dynamic between LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, though, because LeBron is as much as he's great. He is kind of soft. We've all kind of see it. He kind of buckles under pressure and like throws fits and stuff like that. And Kobe during his early years, like, don't listen to the hype. Like, he definitely did the same thing. Like, and Michael Jordan did the same thing too. Star players always like throw hissy fits. That's what they do. Like, going back to like the 50s and 60s, they did that. But LeBron, I just feel like Kobe and LeBron are gonna fight each other at some point. Like, not fist fight, obviously, but they're definitely gonna start beefing. But then they might grow like some weirdly tight bond after that. So I don't really know how this is gonna work out. But either way, yeah, this is the greatest team of all time for sure. I don't think there's any.
Again, there was a lot to consider in these rankings.
Okay, where did you consider Reggie Miller, sir? I just want to know that. That one's going to haunt me for a while. I'm going to be upset with that one for a while. So, as always, it has been your boy Cheap Ludes. I'm not going to do too much reaction stuff, like even on the next, like the second channel and stuff like that. I just wanted to react to this because my buddies told me to, essentially. So, let me know what you think down in the comments. I appreciate all you guys. Like I said, more content like this, just random NBA stuff, like other video games and stuff like that is going to be over on my second channel, of which I have neglected it, but I will be a better father within the coming months here, and I will post more over on the Cheaper Ludes channel, which is down in the description. But shout out to all my day one homies, man. Peace out.